Hi everybody and welcome to a new episode of Ask Tatyana. I have chosen another 3 questions that you sent me and I would like to answer them today. So let's start. Angela Farici. What is your practice routine? Warm-up, studies, repertoire, scales? I want to know this for so long. Angelo, you asked me about my practice routine. Actually, it depends on if I need to prepare myself for a concert or for a recording, or if it's just the time in between where I can prepare any new pieces. So, in generally, I'm practicing about 2, maximum 3 hours a day. Probably you know Arthur Rubinstein. He's the one of the most famous and important pianists of the 20th century. And he said one time that never practice more than 3 or 4 hours a day because nobody is able to concentrate longer. And the rest of the time you need to spend learning about the life, love, about arts and about any other wonderful things in the life. Because imagine if a young person is sitting the whole day in a practicing room, what can he tell or what can he express in his music? Probably not so much. So actually I'm absolutely agree with Arthur, and I always try to explain my student that it's not so important how long you practice, but how you practice. Because if you would set a very concrete goals, a very clear goals for the time of practicing, and if you could stay very concentrated during it, you will reach much more than if you just will play for 2 or 3 hours thinking about something else and just put the guitar to the side and do something else. For me personally, I could figure out that the best time, the most effective time for me is something about 2 or 3 hours. And actually I start always to practice with my warm-up exercises. By the way, you asked me also about which warm-up exercises I have and what I'm doing, and I will of course tell you about it and also show you these exercises, but in the new episode. So after my warm-up program, it takes me sometimes about 20 or 30 minutes. I make a break, something around 5 minutes, and after that I choose 2 or 4 and sometimes 5 pieces that I would like to work on. And usually I try to do it in the way that I have the old piece, which I just need to repeat or to refresh, or probably the piece that I will play in the next concert. And I also try to have a new one, really fresh and not so ready, where I have a little bit more work, and I try to keep it more or less in balance. But of course, if I have a concert, it's quite difficult to work in the same time on the new stuff, because the program is usually quite long. When I'm working on a piece, I try just not to play it from the beginning to the end 20 times and hope that it will get better. But I just select the most important parts or the most difficult parts and try to work first on these parts and to make them better. And after that I can put them together, or just to make some kind of to play the piece through, like the end or like conclusion of the work. You asked also if I play any studies. At the moment, no, because I have such a big program that I just don't have enough time for it. But if you just start to learn to play guitar, or if you would like to improve some technical skills. It would be really very helpful to play some studies, and they can really help you in a very short time to improve your technique. Mark Lindley. A guitar player myself, I suffer from fairly small hands, and this has always made me think I can't be a good player. How can I overcome this? Mark, to your question, as I read it, it was like idea, and I must think on one video, and I will show you the link below. You need to watch it. Probably you will find there some tips how you can overcome it, but it's more like joke actually. So to be more honest, I also don't have big hands. They're quite small, but somehow it works. And I can remember many years ago when I studied, and my professor showed me some parts of the pieces, and he just need to put one finger and another one, and he could cover more than the half of the fret of the fretboard, and I was just how does it work? I cannot do it, but still there are some things how you can manage it, and how you can still play really good with the small hands. Actually, we must be honest. There are so many musicians and pianists and guitarists and many others who are really great, but they also don't have big hands. So it shouldn't be a big problem if you know how you can overcome it. So how you can overcome it? The first idea could be that you probably need to try a smaller guitar. Here in Europe, and I think that you should have something very similar in USA, the normal length of the string from this point to this one is 65 centimeters. It's usual basic, no? But some guitarists, and sometimes when you really have smaller hands, it could be much easier to play the guitar when the length is not 65 but 64, and many guitar makers are really do it, or even 63. So actually it's possible, and it could make the way of playing much more easier for you. As the next idea or recommendation could be that you need to develop, to stretch your muscles, because actually big hands are good to reach from something from one point to another point, and it's also not only the question of how long your fingers are, but also how good you can stretch your muscles. So they should be quite good to make some exercises to do this stretching, and to be able to overcome this. And for example, which exercises could it be? I used to see from my first teacher something like that you for example put your fingers on the E string, and then you first choose the first couple, the first and the second finger, and try to play like you put them on the string and try to keep the distance of one fret in between. No? Then you move, and then you move once again, and sometimes you, at the end, you will come to the end. The most important thing is you need to keep all the fingers the whole time on the string. Then you take another couple, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you continue in that way. It will be probably the most difficult couple. And the next part with the fourth finger. Of course, you can do it on all the strings, and but what could be very important, don't try to play this exercise when you didn't make any warm-ups before, so your hand need to be warm up before. And never do it when your hand is cold. No? So just first you need to play maybe 20-30 minutes, no? And then you can try to make this stretching exercise. Of course, you need to avoid any pain in your hand, so don't be too enthusiastic. The third point could be try to choose the repertoire more clever. You know, there are still many pieces that you can play, and sometimes if you recognize that this piece contains only from really big chords, probably can find another one that is even more beautiful. Or if you still don't really like to play this piece, there is also another possibility. In the most difficult chords, you can try to play this chord in another position. So you will have everything a little bit closer. Sometimes it works. You need to take a look. And sometimes probably when you have a big chord, you can try to put the bass, the most deep note, 1 octave higher to make it a little bit easier. I just show you a small example. You need, for example, to play this chord, and you cannot get it because it's quite wide and quite big, and you take the bass and put it 1 octave higher, so we'll have it here at the G, no? And then it will be even more comfortable and everything will be much closer and will be easier to play. Of course, in each case you need to take a look, is it really good? Does it somehow make the music worse or not? But usually it works. And also sometimes in some of the big chords you have 2 or 3 same notes. For example, you have E, G, E and C, no? And sometimes you can take a look if one E is really very far away, you can take away, maybe the chord will be a little bit smaller, but also more comfortable to play. Here were some tips and tricks how you can overcome it, but honestly, when you're a professional guitar player or when you would like to become a professional guitar player, probably the only answer will be practice. So, of course, exercises, and of course, you need to try to get the big chords. No, but anyway, I wish you good luck and hope that it will work. As per Digal, when you come to Mexico, would you accept drink some cups of tequila with me? I promise don't propose marriage. Hi everybody and welcome to a new episode of Ask Tatyana. Today we need to change our sofa against very comfortable hard chair because we'll talk about warm-up exercises and I wanted to make once again 3 questions in episode, but this first question about warm-up took so much time and it was really so long that I thought we'll make a known episode only with this warm-up part. So you will see today the first part of warm-up exercises.